Arena may very well have saved Magic the Gathering. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. Today, we are here to sing the praises of Magic Arena. I think it's important to bring a balanced approach to my channel. I don't want to always be talking about the dark side. Sometimes I want to talk about the light side. Oh, that's a clever way to point out my lighting disparity there, right? And of course a tractor or something's going to drive by. Like, yeah, professional operation I'm running here. Definitely want to listen to what I have to say. Clearly I'm running a high-level operation here. Everything's all even on the screen. There's definitely not paint missing from the walls. So listen to a man who probably doesn't deserve to be listened to. All right, so we're here today to talk about how Magic Arena has positively impacted the game overall. Yes, there are flaws. I've talked about them in numerous videos. This video is specifically going to focus on the positives. If you want to join in with things that I've missed in the comment section, by all means, but I'm looking for positives here. So if you just want to complain about Arena and I'm just going to ignore your comment. As soon as I realize, I'm just going to scroll by it and not bother reading it. I know you're not going to stop yourself from doing it, whatever. But this is totally 100% here to talk about the positives. Magic the Gathering was suffering an economic decline. Things weren't going too well for Magic. Now, obviously, Magic's a strong game, and it would take a lot to really throttle it down and get rid of it. And that's not a scenario we're looking at. So it's not like Arena saved Magic from being completely obliterated. Magic the Gathering, as we know it, wouldn't exist anymore. But Arena has brought a lot of good things to the table. And I want to take the time to go through it all, because I compiled a list, and honestly, the more I thought about it, the more impressed I was. Wizards of the Coast has done a very good job here. Before we jump into the whole Arena list, I do want to cover the fact that there is another online platform for Magic, Magic the Gathering Online. It has its benefits and its drawbacks. One of the biggest drawbacks for me is how buggy it is. There's a lot of stuff you just can't use due to bugs, and that's something Arena definitely does not have an issue with. But let's dive in to the positives that I have found in Magic Arena. Starting out with the playing anytime, anywhere. Now, this was made really obvious to me when I had taken a step away from Magic. Those of you who have been with my channel for a while will remember the dark times when I had decided to wander away from Magic the Gathering and didn't want anything to do with the game at the time. Well, that period didn't last long before the sweet siren call of Magic the Gathering lured me back. And I remember when the bug hit me and I wanted to play, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Under those circumstances, 3 o'clock on like a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, what are you going to do? Nothing. You got to wait until the weekend for Magic time, or call up one of your buddies later during normal people hours and be like, hey, you want to hang out? You want to play some Magic? Didn't have to deal with any of that. I just hopped straight on to Magic Arena and I was able to find games right away. And the playing anywhere, obviously it's not anywhere. You can't just pull out your phone and play wherever, but anywhere there's a computer where you can install Arena, you can play. So I can move from province to province. I could move to some small little like little like village that doesn't have any kind of gaming stores, anything of that nature. Boom, can still play whenever I want. So you don't have that. That's the next point here, is you don't need friend groups. You don't have to have a group of friends that you play with. You don't have to have an LGS. You don't have to have any of that. It removes certain barriers of access to the game, right? That also leads into my next point, which is it's an easy start for beginners. You don't have to deal with going to a store full of people that you don't know, or if you don't have a store, you can just hop on. They have the whole path to beginnerdom where you can play against Sparky, kind of feel the ropes, figure out what you're doing, get into the game, and the game will just kind of guide you along and let you play in your own little section on your own for as long as you want, so you can get acclimated. And as an added note, they give you a bunch of decks to start with. You can earn unlocks and get yourself different decks to play with. Now, granted, I don't know 100% about the introductory program right now because I started during the beta, and by the time they introduced Sparky's and like skill tree and all that, the damn tractor, stop it! All right, once they introduced that skill tree and everything, I already had unlocked like everything that you got through regular play. So it's not the same process for me. I haven't seen it. Arena is more watchable as well. It's easier to watch, especially when you go over to Twitch and you have the whole overlay and you can look at the cards at your own discretion. You know, if you're going to a game store and you're watching people play, you to a degree can see what they're doing, but you can't just dig through their graveyard if you want to. You can't sit there and scope out everything in their hand very easily. There's aspects of the game that you just can't check out. But when you're watching Arena, especially again with the Twitch add-on, so this is pulling something from outside of Arena, but it wouldn't exist without Arena, right? So this add-on allows you to see all of the cards when you're watching people play, which I really like, honestly. It's impressive. Another thing that's nice for everybody, especially for beginners, is you can't make rules mistakes. You can't play a card incorrectly. You can misinterpret it at first, but then once you see a card and how it's used, you go, okay, well, it has to work this way because that's what the game did. So the game will teach you and not allow you to make mistakes, which is nice, right? You're not going to sit there thinking things work a certain way. Then you go down to the LGS, you go to do something, and someone's like, no. What do you do? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not going to happen to you. Arena doesn't do that. What are you doing? Arena just won't allow illegal plays. And speaking of illegal plays and not being allowed to do what you're not supposed to, you can't cheat in Arena. And this is a big one, guys. We have all heard many stories of people cheating, from your pro players like Yuya getting kicked out of the Hall of Fame, removed from the Magic Pro League for his very obvious cheats. We've heard of high-level cheats all the way down to the people who go to regular events at your LGS, the people at your pre-release who are sliding in extra cards from their booster packs and cheating in their sealed pools. So we've all heard of all those levels of cheating. It's all impossible in Arena. It is a level playing field in terms of you cannot adjust anything through cheaty McGeediness. That's not possible, which I really like. Another nice thing about it is Arena's free if you want it to be. And this is to say that you don't have to spend money. They will give you decks to start with. They will give you daily goals that you can accomplish, and you don't have to win to accomplish those goals. You can get goals like casting different color spells, attacking with creatures, casting spells, laying lands, all this kind of stuff, right? And you can use that gold to buy booster packs, so you can grow your collection. Now, can you build every... Now we've got ambulances going by. Either that or the police are coming to shut me down. So, obviously you can't build every tournament viable deck in existence if you're a free-to-play player. It's going to be very difficult to build up a full collection when you're playing the free grind. But that's all right. A lot of people are like me and are casual players. They don't feel the need to have like, I just want what's best in the meta and playing the best decks and all the best cards at any given moment. That's going to be a little more difficult, obviously. But the point is that you can play Arena free if you want to. You physical Magic, that's going to be a lot more difficult. Yes, Wizards does have open houses where you can get your little deck. There you go. Here's your open house deck. You're good to go. Start with that. Those are admittedly insanely weak and won't stand up to virtually any decks other than other intro decks. But from that point on, how do you build your collection? You're not going to get anything more free from Wizards of the Coast, right? You may be able to get some free cards from other people where it's like they'll give you some of their cast-off stuff. But again, you're mainly going to be given commons and uncommons, and those are going to generally tend to be junk. So you're not going to be able to... It's not like people, oh, it's free. It's free to play, but you have to pay if you want to be able to compete. Magic that's the nature of Magic. If you want to compete in Magic the Gathering, especially in Standard or Modern, you definitely have to spend money. You're going to have to buy a bunch of stuff, really. That's what it's going to boil down to. But with Arena, you can play for free as much as you want. Damn, I'm itchy. You notice how much I'm itching? You will now. You'll notice I keep touching my big nose. Because I have a big nose, it itches more than average. I'm better than the average man. I've got a bigger nose than the average man, and I itch it more. Yeah, professional level stuff here. You should listen to me. Okay, so it's free if you want it to be, but it does cost money if you want to have a decent sized collection. Now, wildcards. Let's talk about wildcards because they are a fantastic invention. I wish that they existed in regular Magic the Gathering. Why does my nose itch so much? Is it because my big mouth makes my entire head vibrate like a drum? Oh God, it never stops. Okay, so wildcards allow you to turn them into any card of that rarity. So if you have a mythic wild card, you can turn it into any mythic card in the game. Same goes for uncommon, common, rare, which is really neat, honestly, because it allows you to complete decks that you want to specifically build, but it also allows you to reach back into older sets you may not have been playing. So you could just start right now, and you could be getting War of the Spark packs. But because of wildcards, you could reach all the way back to Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, and be like, you know what? I want Carnage Tyrants. And you can redeem your mythic wildcards for Carnage Tyrants. So all of a sudden, boom, you've got cards that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. We all know, well, I guess I shouldn't say we all know, because it depends on where you are. But a lot of people are going to know the experience of going to an LGS and wanting to buy specific booster packs. And they're like, they're out. We don't have any. We don't have any in stock right now. And we're not getting any more of those because the packs are close to rotation. This isn't all stores. There are some bigger stores that can afford to maintain an inventory of like everything. But there's a lot of stores as well where they'll only go so far back. And then they go, okay, we're not getting these boxes in. It costs us more money. There's less of a demand. So we have to charge more. They're harder to acquire. None of that happens with Arena. You can go backwards with your wild cards. You can grab all of the older stuff. In fact, on top of that, you can just go into the store and buy booster packs from all the different sets. If you want to go all the way back to Rivals of Ixalan and Ixalan, they're available for sale at the exact same price as all other sets as well. So and those are really nice. Those are really nice features. Plus, wild cards allow you to reach out into other products to grab cards you wouldn't normally be able to grab. You can use wild cards to acquire yourself buy a box promos. You can use the tractor is back again. What would be really funny is if you guys couldn't hear the tractor. I just sound like a madman. Anyways, you can use it to get buy a box cards. You can use it to acquire the cards from intro decks. For example, there's cards like Aggressive Mammoth that only exist in the Open House deck and the Planeswalker deck, but are still really attractive to me. Are you kidding me? 6 mana for an 8/8 trampler that gives all of your guys trample? It's a force of nature on steroids, son. I love it. So it's cool that you get to reach in for that. The events happen whenever you want them to. If you want to get up at 2 o'clock at night and you want to play in a sealed War of the Spark event, you want to play a traditional draft War of the Spark, whatever you want to do, rank draft, traditional draft, it's available at any time of the day. You get to decide, hey, this is when I'm going to get in. And on top of that, you have even more control. Let's say you're going to go to a tournament at a shop and it's going to be a draft or a sealed event. You have to commit X hours to that event. You have no choice. You're there for the long haul. With Arena, you can do it round by round. As long as the event isn't something that's really limited time, and they usually have a timer to let you know when you're about at the 48-hour mark or less so you can finish it up, you can literally play one round of an event and then leave. You can just leave and come back later and just be like, I'll come back 6 hours later and play another round. It really allows for your own convenience, the same way that the drafting allows for your own convenience, in that you can start your draft if you want to, and then if you need to leave, you can come back and finish the draft later. Imagine trying to do that in real life. Everybody put your packs down. I'll be back in 8 hours. I gotta go and complain about Game of Thrones on the internet and do other stuff. I'll be back. Everybody wait for me. You don't have to do that. That's not what's going on here. You have a lot more control over your own time when it comes to this. You can fit it into your life wherever. You can just play, if you only have an hour or two each day, then you can play an event over a number of days. And I really like that. They've got crazy cool formats as well. They have formats that you really can't have in real life easily. Yes, if you went to the effort, you could try and mimic some of the events. You could. But things like the Momir event, where you'd have to sit there and create a big chart where you roll dice and everything to create random creatures to get the same kind of effect, would be a huge hassle. Arena removes all that, and they give you variety, and I genuinely enjoy variety. They have had some cool events, and they do it with drafts and things like that too, where all of a sudden you can play cards for free, but you draw fewer cards. And like, there's all kinds of really neat formats that they can try with Arena that you can't really do as effectively in physical Magic. So that, I definitely like that as well. Your cards can never get damaged or lost. I'm sure some of you are like me and have a massive, sprawling collection of cards. Well, what happens when you put your playset of Birds of Paradise somewhere and you go, oh my God, where are my birds? Are they in one of my 50 decks? Are they in one of these 100 long boxes I've got of cards? Where are they buried? When you have hundreds of thousands of cards, it can be really difficult to find the cards that you're looking for. On top of that, let's take the Birds of Paradise example that I just used. Birds of Paradise are a fantastic card you're going to want in a number of decks. But if you want to place that in every deck, you have to own 4 copies of the card for every single deck. You can't just go, I'm going to use the same 4 birds in each deck. That doesn't work that way. But Arena allows you to do that. On top of that, you can never accidentally have your opponent spill their beverage all over your cards. I don't know if you guys have had that happen to you where you're playing in a game store or something and some clumsy oaf idiot knocks their drink over. And the thing is your cards are sitting there and they're oriented towards you. So the openings are at the top, the direct access for drinks to fly straight into your card sleeves. That is a nightmare. Now, double sleeving has made that less of an issue, but overall, that's just one of a myriad number of ways where your cards can get damaged. You can drop a card on the floor and not realize it, roll over it in your chair or something like that, step on it, bend it. Your dog can grab your and chomp up your card. So there's no way for cards to get damaged or lost in Arena, which is fantastic. And you have the ability to search through your entire collection like that. You can just type in GOAT and it will go, here's every GOAT you own. That's amazing. I would kill for that with my physical collection. Do I have any copies of this? Boom, boom. And yeah, you can try and make a database of all your cards if you're a maniac. There's no way I'm making a database of all my physical cards. Are you out of your damn mind? I don't have that much time. So, Arena removes that and other fiddly things, like fiddly bits. And by fiddly bits, I mean you don't have to sit there with your pen and paper keeping track of your life. You don't have to keep making sure you move your counters around and do all these things. All of that stuff is done for you automatically with nice little tweaks as well. The tractor is back with nice little tweaks as well, where, for example, you have the Amass Tokens now. And there's 3 variations of Amass Tokens. I wish I had actually got some out to represent this, but either way, you've got one that just shows 1 skeleton on it. And then you've got one that shows like 3 skeletons on it, and then one that shows a group of them. And as your army grows, as your army token grows, they change that automatically to represent it. And it's little tweaks like that, which are nice. And that was what you would have to fiddle with as well. If you want to use all 3 tokens, you've got to decide, okay, I'm going to switch it out at this time. It just saves you a lot of that manual operation, which overall saves you time. It also offers best of 1 and best of 3. So you can play traditional Magic if you want to, or you can play best of 1. And I'll admit, at first, I didn't think best of 1 was a great idea. But after playing it for a while, I much prefer best of 1 in all honesty. I really like the casual, let's have a go, forget the sideboards, let's just try and elbow each other's chins, and then we'll move on to either playing each other again or somebody else, depending on how things go. I like it. And to tie back into the point that I made about fiddly bits there, there's no extras required. You don't have to have sleeves for your deck because you don't have to worry about your cards being marked or your sleeves being marked if you're a cheater. But anyways, you don't have to worry about sleeves. You don't have to worry about having pen and paper to keep track of your life. You don't have to worry about having dice for your counters. You don't have to worry about having the proper token cards to go with your creatures. You don't have to worry about acquiring a deck box. You don't have to worry about all the storage space of all of your cards. There's a lot of extras that come along with Magic the Gathering and other games. As I acquire more and more games and they stack up around me, I'm like a hoarder, but I'm just surrounded by games and games and games. You can see it just in the background of my videos and stuff. I've got so much stuff everywhere. It's a nightmare. I live in a tiny place. So we already covered you can instantly search every card you own, so I'll move past that point. You can download deck lists and autofill them. And what I mean by that is you can go online and you can see people's deck lists and go, oh, cool. This deck seems like fun. Like there's a deck I saw that seems like a lot of fun. And he uses Famished Paladin, Sorcerer's Wand, and Lifelink to create an infinite combo where you go, I'll tap this guy to do a damage to you. And then he untaps because you've gained life. And then you can just keep doing it. And it's rinse and repeat. It's a funky little combo where it's like, get wanded, son. And I like stuff like that. So you can go online. You can see decks that people have built and go, I want that deck too. And you can just grab the list. And honestly, I don't know if they have the ability for you to import deck lists into Arena. I haven't actually checked that part. But either way, you can download the deck list for your own reference just quickly link it up. Just go into your deck creator and just search up all the cards, put them in. And not only does it do that, but it will let you select cards you don't already have. Once you've made the whole deck, you can press one button and it will automatically convert all of the wild cards that you have into cards for the deck. I mean, it won't use up all your wild cards, but let's say you're missing like 7 uncommons for the deck and 2 rares. You can click a button, it'll use 2 of your rare wild cards, 7 uncommon wild cards, and it'll finish that deck for you, and you'll be good to go. That's extremely convenient. Honestly, I like that. You combine it with the fact that you have access to all sets on demand. It's absolutely lovely. The game comes with all kinds of visual extras. And by that, I mean you have the nice background. Instead of playing on a table at an LGS that's probably at this point half decently like scuffed up, probably a little bit dirty because Magic players tend to leave a bunch of trash laying around, all that kind of stuff. You end up with a nice looking fancy table, and they do thematic ones. Like you've got one, for example, for War of the Spark, where you're sitting there and you're like in Ravnica, and you can see the Parhelion flying around, and you can click on it, it's like, pew, pew, and it'll fire its laser, and you can smash the Bolus statue, and you can light the Azorius beacon, and honestly, I enjoy that. I think it's fun. Little birds land, you can be like, get out of here, bird, and make them fly away. It's fun. It's these little extras that give you a little bit of a distraction while you're waiting for your opponent, because Arena admittedly does have time issues, but like sitting around waiting issues, but we're not here to discuss the negatives. That's for different videos. We're here talking about the positives. So these visual extras, they do add a nice little dimension to it. You can see Planeswalker sparks flying by. You play a demanding dragon, you see a dragon shadow fly by. You see that you put out your Seraph for the scales come down balance. They have all these little added things that make it just more visually engaging, which I really enjoy. And they also have another level too. Now this is stuff that actually costs you money, but the cosmetics. If you want to, you can change up your card backs. You can buy specialized styles for your cards so that they look better. Although admittedly, the styles need a little bit of work when it comes to like how they look on creatures, but they do look great on lands. Honestly, the styles on lands, mwah, absolutely gorgeous. I genuinely enjoy the land styles. They're beautiful. It adds a level to the artwork. And as someone who genuinely appreciates the artwork on Magic cards and the flavor and all that, it's next level. So I genuinely enjoy that. The full art treatment of the Planeswalkers when they're on the board is pretty cool. They have the ability to have it visually look one way and then you can hover over it for the information. So that's really nice and enjoyable. And also, another nice thing to tie back into the whole dirty tables, people leaving the garbage everywhere, you have control over your environment and activities when you're playing Arena. You get to decide what you're doing. You don't just go to the store and go, okay, we've got enough people here for draft and everyone wants to draft, so we're drafting. It's like, do you want to play draft? Do you want to play sealed? What do you feel like playing? Do you want to play competitive constructed? Do you want to play casual, insane 150 card green decks like I do? You get control over all that. You also get control over your environment. You get to decide, is there going to be music playing? What music's going to be playing? Am I going to wear pants? Those sort of issues are all up to you. You're 100% in control of that. You don't have to worry about anyone you don't like being there in your home. You don't have to worry about the smell of some Magic players because unfortunately that is a very real thing. Magic players stank is a real thing in this day and age. They should probably honestly introduce the same rules as Yu-Gi-Oh, where if your hygiene level isn't at a certain point, you're going to get disqualified for it. You need to be told because it's just courtesy to your fellow man. But you remove all of those concerns altogether when you go ahead and play in your own home, right? I mean, unless you stink. And if you stink so bad that you can smell yourself, I can't explain to you that you need to bathe. You're beyond redemption. Move along, get off my channel. I don't want you rubbing your stink on my channel. So let's talk about a couple of benefits there are specifically to Wizards of the Coast as well, because there are benefits for them. And I'm just going to briefly touch on a couple of those. The most important ones to me. The benefits for Wizards of the Coast is first, all the money goes to them. There's no secondary market. There's no resale of cards or anything like that. So all money put into the game goes directly to Wizards of the Coast, which is perfect for them. They don't have to worry about the production cost for creating all the cards. And by that, I mean physically creating cards. They still have to pay for the art. They still have to design the cards and test them against each other. But it doesn't matter how many cards they sell. There's no additional cost past that because they don't have to print them, put them out there. None of that issue. There's no secondary market that influences the prices of anything. And they get perfect player data. And that means they can see exactly when people are playing, how they're playing, what they prefer, what events do well, what events aren't doing well, and it will allow them to, going forwards, zone in and zoom in more specifically on what will be most effective to please the player base. Before, they would have to extrapolate information, guess how many like tabletop players there are, how many people are sitting around a kitchen table right now playing, what do they like, what do they dislike. They can, at a moment's notice, they can see, okay, what cards are being most heavily used, what formats are most heavily played, what does the best, what does the worst, what gets the highest engagement, what gets the lowest engagement. These are valuable metrics for a corporation to have. Companies pay a lot of money for information. That's why you can see sites like Facebook making a bunch of money off of selling user data, because your data is valuable. In this case, Wizards of the Coast has access to all that data, which allows them to make more informed decisions. Overall, over time, Arena has grown on me. I think that despite its flaws, it's a fantastic product. Now, it'll never replace paper Magic, and it'll never go all the way back to old school stuff. So until MTGO becomes so unprofitable that they shut it down, which may never happen, Arena isn't going to be the only way to play Magic online. But for beginners, for convenience, for just like cost effectiveness, it's fantastic for all of that, for all the reasons that I listed. So at this point, if there are other positives that you can think of about Arena, I invite you to share that information in the comment section, because I am genuinely curious to see if there's any points that I missed while I was sitting down and thinking about this. Again, I will reiterate, if you're going to leave negative comments wanking about Arena, I don't care. I genuinely do not care at all. I'm just going to ignore your comments in this case. A lot of the time, actually all the time, I read all the comments. But in this particular case, if your comment starts out with complaints, I'm just going to scroll by it, because in this point, I'm looking for feedback specifically about the beneficial aspects of Arena. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunities to share your unhappiness about aspects of Arena, because that's the kind of stuff I do here too. I like to have a balanced approach, and that doesn't mean equal time spent talking about good and negative, just bringing to the forefront what I think is the reality of the situation. So all that being said, it's time to roll the golden scroll. The people who have my back on Patreon or through channel memberships, thank you very much for supporting the work that I do. To everyone I say, thank you for being here, and I'm history, baby!